Welcome to Easy Awakenings. Today we're talking about setbacks, hurdles, and challenges. Starring Marquise Camera Face White. Featuring Victor No Show Gojjevic. Today we'll be dealing with subjects such as how to deal with a friendship gone awry, overcoming corruption in a partnership, how to spot users and abusers, knowing when to pick your battles, and why honest conflict is better than dishonest harmony. Victor.
Marquise.
Hello.
Hola.
How's it going, my friend?
I'm doing very well, my friend.
My friend.
We're back.
Oh, it's been a journey, man.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot minute since we did one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we had some interesting things happen.
some very interesting things happen.
We're not going to go too much into that. And although this one's inspired by certain events
Yes. Well,
that took place.
Let's just say we had to trim the fat a little bit. Trim the fat off, Take it down a little bit. We had to shave our faces.
We had to focus. Change our focus.
A little convoluted. We had to trim some things down, get rid of a few extra unnecessary pieces.
Simplify.
As
I like
things.
to put it.
Yeah. But we're getting back to our roots, and that's what's most important.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys got a chance to see the new piece that we did. It was a promo piece. It was it's called Mental Health Unplugged. It's a tentative name. We're not even sure we like that name. But yeah, no, it was good. It's on social media addiction. A little long in the center, but very very engaging material. Very good topic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, check it out. Watch The Ego in Me. That's always fantastic.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And then our newest one, the one we did on teamwork.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Short piece that we did, but I think really informative, help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not only just at work, but
right.
whether it's your family team or friends team.
Yeah.
Just how to deal.
There's a weird shadow in your background.
We edit that out.
We'll cut to being that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
You said not talk, but I got to pee.
I didn't say don't pee. I said don't talk. Little All right. So today we're going with setbacks, hurdles, and challenges. And like you said, this was inspired by, recent events. But everyone goes through, stuff like this. And it really was inspired. We went through, it was kind of a stressful time. We had some nonsensical people kind of come in, some shysters that, really had their own agendas set up and they wanted to do their own thing at our expense. And, the thing is that no matter who you are and what path you're on, you're going to encounter this kind of a thing. So, a lot of folks they want to set their lives up so that they never encounter people. And some people, especially within the self-help or spiritual community, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people have this notion that, if it comes in your life, you somehow attract it. Just set so that there are so many people on this planet with their own agendas and their own, path and their own goals. And a lot of people are out there that are very willing to, screw you over or to, do something to you so that they gain their own benefit, that they can get whatever they want, no matter what it costs for other people that are involved.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of thought it would be a good thing to dive into and to talk about. So.
Yeah, and we're very trusting. We like to see the good in everyone.
Sure.
And we give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And but sometimes there are red flags, and we probably overlooked a few.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay. It's all part of the learning process.
Oh sure.
Because if you can make these mistakes, but if you could learn from them and help, those things will help you overcome things in the future.
Yeah.
And our bond became stronger because of what happened
Oh,
because
yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
really had to lean on each other. We had to rely on each other for some, emotional stability and, dealing with this stuff. Because a lot of emotion comes up.
Sure.
You can question it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You can question your own self-worth when these things come up.
Well, and you kind of you'll take a look at it. You wonder, did I do something wrong? Was it something that I did?
Yeah.
Was I a villain in this scenario? But I mean, in the honest truth, I mean, it's just, I mean, one, like it was stated earlier, everyone kind of has their own perspective of how things go. But yeah, no. So the truth is that, I mean, there definitely are people that are willing to, like we said, to do what they want to do at your cost. And there are people that'll do mental gymnastics to convince themselves or to explain to themselves that what they did was right. Even when it's very obvious that their actions are promoting a course down a very unhealthy path for just about all parties involved. So, and again, that's something that everybody encounters, no matter what scenario you're in. Ask yourself this question: have you ever encountered someone that doesn't encounter these kinds of problems? There are people that don't go through stressful situations as much as others, but typically these are people that don't really get involved in the world. They stay very secluded within an environment that they've sort of built to protect themselves from, other people and other influences from the outside. But if you're engaged in a path that connects to other people, you're going to encounter all kinds of folks. Yeah. Good folks, bad folks. Some people it's not as if people that do things that are, morally deprived, that they're necessarily evil. Some people they have habits. Everyone has got habits, and sometimes habits are good, and sometimes habits are bad. Nico, can you close that door, buddy? Thanks,
Thank
little
you.
man. Thanks, little man. That's our production assistant, Nikolai White. That's the little guy. This is our official production assistant.
What's this?
That's Uncle Victor.
See? Camera?
Look right there. See that?
You see?
Yeah. Say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, bud.
Daddy.
That's Daddy.
It's me.
It's you. All right, champ. All right, we're gonna go back to working, okay, fella? No, not yet, buddy. All right, so so the good question to ask ourselves is life perfect?
No.
Good answer. Good answer.
You might as well just forget that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's not. If life were perfect, you wouldn't grow anyway.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that opportunity to
It'd be
turn.
really boring too,
It
actually.
would be very boring.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any challenges to. Everyone needs contrast, right? You need.
Well,
that,
you see it all the
that-
time, when celebrities get everything that they want. I mean,
Oh yeah.
how many of them, we hear it every single day, something.
Yeah. And rehab. I mean, you hear more about celebrities and people of wealth getting themselves into just some weird, torn up circumstances.
Yeah.
So almost it seems out of pure boredom. It's like you've got everything that the average man could want. Why get mixed up into this? And it's because the human mind is it's looking for a little bit of that contrast. It wants those learning experiences to help itself grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, sometimes it's better just to find a new path, find a new goal.
Sure.
And that's actually a more healthy approach. But, at a point where you get everything that you want, and we're all seeking for more and better. But once you get everything that you could possibly want on the material world, the next is like going into yourself.
Sure.
And getting things through yourself as opposed to outside of yourself.
Exactly. Well, I mean, hopefully that's the.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully that's the under.
But that's the question. Like, why am I not happy now that
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
everything that I want? Right. I
Exactly.
achieved all my dreams.
Yeah.
All my goals. But the thing is it was the seeking of, right, the process of the goal that you could probably find that actually made you happier as opposed to getting to the end necessarily.
The chase, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that thrill. I mean, and a lot of that's chemical. You know, you get these hits of dopamine when you chase after and get a little bit of, a little bit of success here and there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's very easy to get addicted to that because you're chasing that feeling of excitement.
Yeah.
And some of that's healthy. It's not
It
as
is.
if that's a bad thing to to chase down, goals and desires. There's a very healthy element to that.
Yeah.
It helps us grow.
Point in question.
Yeah. Point in question.
Yeah.
Kid playing video games.
Yeah, it's better than being chased by a lion, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But I think that kind of comes into why we have so many problems in a world that provides so much for us. We really live in a very comfortable world. Our bodies, we're naturally bred to be out there hunted by lions and tigers.
Yeah.
To survive, butt ass naked. You know what I mean? But now we're living in, lush surroundings with digital lights and microphones.
Yeah.
With heat that comes from a box in the basement someplace, and that removes that element.
Yeah.
So it's about adjusting between those places.
Yeah, very much so.
So what do you do when the ego comes between friendship and business? And this plays into, things that we went through. We had several close people that we considered friends, and business partners that were.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you do. And it's strange because it seemed as if, for all things that happened, it seemed as if insecurities played a huge part in the play of what went down. And it's as if, it's as if things got so awkward, almost out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Over a few, small tiffs or whatever, and that awkwardness sort of manifested into, who knows what was going through these people's heads. But
what's strange is we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That the only thing I could compare it to is like a romantic relationship.
Sure.
Dissolving.
Sure.
So people just become like when they see you in a different light, they just stop the communication, and it's almost something clicks in their brain.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, I got to end this thing.
Well,
There's no more talking about it. I have to end it.
Right. That's a very good point, because if you think about it, in the beginning of any relationship where you want something, like a romantic relationship, you're chasing something down because you want something.
Yeah. Yep.
Either you're looking to, cultivate this relationship where you can hold on to this person, for some type of future, or you're looking for some sex, some nice juicy sex at the end of the night or some point later on in the near future, and that
Not me, hon. Not me.
not this guy, but no, and that's comparable. You think about a relationship where you're trying to build something together, like with business and so on.
Yeah.
It's very similar in that regard, because everyone's chasing after something. Everyone gets sort of stars in their eyes. But what can easily happen is that people, they only see what it is that they get out of the situation. And in our case, it's kind of funny, because we were dealing with one person in particular wasn't doing anything. They had these expectations about what they could get out of being a part of the organization, being a part of what we were doing and building. They came in with lots of opinions about, what could be done, and
What shouldn't be done.
What shouldn't be, mostly what shouldn't be done, but never an ability to execute. And in any relationship, period, your ability to execute on the task is what matters the most. So I think that this person just kind of, dealt with, knowing that they weren't able to execute anything really in particular. They had made some mistakes, and really didn't want to face up to it and just kind of backed out. And it's sad, but I think that's often the case in a lot of situations where yeah, like you
Yeah,
said,
a
you
lot
don't
of
want to deal with the
relationships.
communication. What's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what reminded me of a romantic relationship, almost that thing where like I'm gonna hurt you before you can hurt me, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
There were definitely some very clear efforts to do harm.
Yeah, it's like you
In a
want
real
to take
childish
control
kind of way.
in some way, and somehow
Yeah.
like you want to be the one to turn the key first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then that way you could sort of lift yourself up,
Sure.
in some way, or say I'm above them.
Makes
they're
you feel
below.
dignified.
Yeah, it
And
does.
and it brings to me my favorite quote as of late. It was by Joe Rogan. It's honest conflict has more social value than dishonest harmony.
Yeah.
And that is very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Yeah, especially if you could come to from a place of stability, your emotions are sort of like on an even keel, and you can actually express yourself, and the other person that you're speaking to can maintain the same thing.
Yeah.
And able to just listen to what you're saying as opposed to formulating a comeback in some way.
Sure. Oh yeah.
You know.
Or the worst thing that people do in these kinds of things is they smile through their teeth at you. You know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna put on this smiley face and pretend
Yeah.
like I'm above all this, and it's like underneath. No, I mean that's bullshit. You're the most seething, vengeful kind of person, that we've sort of encountered, but this whole the fact that you're smiling about it doesn't make it true what you're saying. It just it just looks like a cover up, and you're quite honestly it's kind of disgusting, to be honest. Yeah, it's as if you're trying to lie to yourself about the way that you feel and trying to convince yourself so that when you go home at night and complain about it, you've somehow done justice to the world or something odd. But anyways, yeah. So those things can happen. When they happen, it could be a bit of a shocker. So how do you deal with it? That's the question of the day. How do you deal with that kind of a thing? 'Cause it could be a big blow.
Yeah.
People that you trust and that you consider close and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's time is one of the best healers of all
It
all
is.
pain.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you're still going to feel it in some way, more or less, but, being able to go through it and, the knowing when to let go, because, you've held this person in such high regard,
Yeah.
for such a long time.
Sure.
It's easy to then say, oh, well, they're this or they're that. And,
Right.
kind of let anger, be the sail in a way
Yeah.
to pull
Oh,
you
yeah.
into this, getting low, deep low and down and dirty,
Oh yeah.
type thing to protect your own ego.
Sure.
And,
The nasty drama.
yeah,
Yeah. Which doesn't feel good. If you ever go into that state, and everyone's kind of been there, you had a deep argument with someone.
Yeah.
You get that real. It's like swimming in a sludge, a swamp full of sludge. You're just
it
kind
is.
of.
Yeah,
Ugh, it's gross. You feel heavy and nasty.
it is. Yeah, that's the
Man.
worst.
And
It's the worst when you're carrying it around and you haven't resolved anything, and
Oh yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah. That's
then you're in limbo and you're sitting there in this waiting period.
sure. Yeah.
You're like
no.
on a line, at the store, in the grocery store, that just doesn't end.
It's like you feel sick. You got
Yeah.
a mucus covered face.
You keep seeing other people going to other lines and they're
Right,
getting
right.
through. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
or at least that's how I am at the grocery store.
No, that's
So,
a good example. Because you're stuck, and you want to get
Yeah.
through it, and you want to be over it, but you're just stuck in it, and you're just waiting for it to kind of get over.
Yeah,
So and it's a like we said, it's a difficult thing. There's no easy solution to it. The deeper the relationship is, and the more harsh the sort of impact from whatever breakup happens, the more that feeling will kind of linger inside of you, and you're gonna look outside for ways to deal with it. Substance is never a healthy form of
No.
tackling that issue. Communicating with other people is a good form, though.
if they're open to that, right?
If they're open to it, and if they're
Yeah.
not going to, don't. If it's someone that's just gonna pat your back and say, "Oh, they were just assholes, anyways," you're right, they're wrong, and that's not really healthy either.
Yeah, I'm more talking about the other person that you may have the issue with, is open to the communication.
Oh, I meant like
I
talking to
know.
a friend. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It goes both ways.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, if you can discuss it with the other person, yeah, if they have a healthy mind.
Yeah.
Because then there's progress involved. You can actually get over the issue, and your bonds will strengthen because of it.
Yeah, or you find a way to separate in, in amicable terms.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
you can move on without any harboring anything or
Yeah.
any ill will or anything like that.
Well, one of the worst things to do, and this is exactly what happened to us, is when people split out of animosity, as sort of a I gotcha, like, oh, I gotcha, I'm gonna get you by doing this, and it's the reason for it is to do as much damage as possible on an emotional level, and it's very clear that like that was done. And it's very clear when anyone does this kind of thing that it's an emotional stinger. So if you're someone that's, because it's easy for everybody to do this kind of a thing, especially when you're invested in seeing yourself as this sort of holier than thou kind of figure. But take a look at that. I mean, is that really the healthiest thing to do? If you genuinely want to separate yourself from a particular party or an organization or a friendship, if you feel like a friendship is no longer beneficial for you, communicate these kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, whatever we're doing isn't really working out, so I'm gonna kind of, I'm gonna part ways with it.
Yeah, don't text.
Yeah,
Don't email.
email with smiley face.
Yeah, somebody that you've been friends with for 10 years or more. Maybe not the most mature way to, cut ties.
It's like a 16-year-old who does that kind of. It's weird.
I know, it's like adult ghosting is
It's
the
weird.
email or something or text.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. But I mean, it's a how do you for one, you can't really deal with the circumstance. You know what I mean? And that's kind of one of the most frustrating things when that happens is when someone does that or they exhibit that sort of behavior. And that because it's when people do that kind of thing, they're trying to take their power back. It's someone that clearly feels powerless in whatever given situation, and that's their way to take power and to harm you because they're, that's the way that's the only method they have to get at you.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird power play that really just does so much more damage, than healing. And if you genuinely just wanted to, go about in a different directions, there are lots of ways. Talk to a therapist about it.
Yeah.
A therapist
There are a lot of good books out
should
there
know how to how to deal with this circumstance. But yeah, so time. I'd say time. Communicating with other people, other friends to. Express yourself, but not in a blaming, dramatic way, but in a way that at least allows you to vent, to just vent your opinion about things, but then also to reflect, and then use that time to reflect on your opinion that's kind of coming out, because sometimes you may be stuck in blame mode, like, oh, this person's an asshole and this kind of a thing. When really, I mean, everyone's like an animal, and this person's like it's kind of like a dog that's barking. That's just they're doing what they do to make themselves feel secure.
Yeah, and I like to, if I'm doing that with a friend, usually it's this guy here, but I'll usually, go, let me know, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to vent, I'm going to just put it all, I'm going to right all over your table.
Oh, yeah.
But I need for you to tell me when it turns into something unhealthy, once it turns into something where I'm just complaining, and then I'm turning it into a bitch fest pretty much.
Yeah.
Which maybe at the beginning it can be helpful, but once you go on, if you haven't resolved anything with that person, that is going to linger because you haven't been able to tell that person how you feel.
Sure.
And that person wants no part of it.
Yeah.
So the next best thing, is a good friend or a therapist,
Sure.
To let that all out. But hopefully, when I say, please tell me, is it's turning into complaining?
Yeah.
Am I just sitting here bitching? And am I making the story longer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, so once you kind of get that stuff out of your system, once you've communicated about it, at least voiced whatever concerns or, feelings that you may have bottled up inside if you just have to let them out. I'd say the best next thing to do is honestly to get a goal set that is unrelated to whatever situation is that you went through. Having a goal in mind takes your mind off of it. It moves your own path forward, and then you're putting your focus and the importance of whatever situation that you have kind of going on onto that goal.
Yeah.
And it'll help you get over a lot faster. That's why a lot of folks say to get what do you call when you break up with someone, what do you call the next? What do you call
a
it?
rebound?
A rebound, yeah. Which isn't a good thing, mind you.
It's not.
But the reason why
I've been a rebound.
Have you been a rebound?
I've not been the other person because
Sure.
I always think that's the worst way to go for me.
the reason why it, something like that seems to help out initially anyways for the rebound, and there's a reason why a rebound is not good, but the reason why people say to get a rebound is because it takes your mind off of it. The
Yeah.
reason why a rebound is not good is because you're filling the gaps in something that you still want with this other person.
Yeah.
And that's a false sort of accomplishment, and so all that's really going to do is remind you of how shallow this new goal is. But having a real goal in mind, something that you really want to accomplish, and it's something that should be creative. It should be something that takes a lot from you to put, to put forward. That's very healthy. That will definitely help you to move all of that emotional residue out of that situation. Move that out of your system. It'll help get rid of it a lot faster.
Yeah.
And you'll start to put your focus and your energy into something else, and that's huge.
Yeah, and just a couple of easy examples could be, starting workout, or doing a new workout routine.
Sure.
Just simple stuff that you could do.
Yep.
Learning a new skill,
Yeah.
I think, is often a good way to, have a new goal.
Oh, yeah.
Is by doing that. Just simple ways.
Sure. No, those are great. Definitely great starters.
Yeah, or it's something that you've always wanted to do, but you just sort of, a lot of times you get into relationships and you just kind of everything falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to just go back, pick that thing up, whatever it was that really made you excited.
Sure.
And that's what you have to get back to is we get excited when, these new people are in our lives and
Sure.
we have these new goals and these new goals with this other person. But once that person is gone, you really have to get some form of excitement back in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And just like you said, having a new goal and something to work into,
Exactly.
work towards,
Yeah.
but getting really excited about that.
Exactly.
The same excitement you got from finding, a new partner, or, a new girlfriend,
Sure.
boyfriend, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. No. Something that's romantic that you're breaking up through, knowing when to let go instead of the hope of getting someone back, that's huge, and it's a slightly different from what we're talking about, but it sort of applies, when you're dealing with someone that you're sort of waiting on pins and needles for this person to sort of have a change of behavior or to give you the response that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to get into this position where you're waiting for them to give you permission.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that is just that's not healthy, and it really puts control in their hands.
Does.
And you want to be in a position where you're controlling your behavior and your circumstance, and the best way to do that is to move on from them, to let them go. And so if you it's okay to give a little effort into a relationship or a situation. But a lot of times things will kind of work themselves out, and they'll tell you where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And always communicate about, where you are and your position with it. But, sometimes it's just if someone is, behaving like a 2-year-old or so on, it's best to just kind of let them do their thing and you move on. If they happen to get a little better, if they happen to kind of come to their senses a little bit and,
Yeah.
to see you know, that it's not really worth it to go down that kind of a path, then that's fine. It's always good to, I say it's, hell yeah, have a good conversation with them about that.
Yeah, as long as they're, I think, willing to work with you,
Yeah.
you know, towards
Yeah.
this thing, and
Sure.
you know, you guys could be on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
But on the opposite end, you have to factor in the possibility that this might be ultimately the best thing for you.
Oh yeah, for a very unhealthy mindset.
Yeah.
Definitely, it definitely can be, and there are people that, you know, and it depends on the closeness of the relationship too. 'Cause I've had some very close people in
Sure.
my life that's like, you know, these are family members, and you can't,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like you can just go and you just cut you right out completely.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta push them out, let them stay gone for a bit until they've, you know, changed, and you can see and clearly feel that energy shift. And then you can tell how and where can I fit you into my life. You know, let them, that place will be fine. Always remember and know if you can genuinely trust this person to the degree you wish to trust them to. But like you said, look out for the red flags. You know, become a keen seer of personalities.
Yeah.
You know, don't look like, this is something that kills me in the field of psychology, is this incessant need to label, you know, personality types. There was one girl I dated a while ago, man. This chick, when we first started seeing each other, she goes, "Oh, are you an AB or whatever the hell the thing is? Are you a type C5102 or a C?"
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, are you seriously cool? It's whatever the personality types. It's like A, B, C through F, whatever the hell. But it's like, dude, it's such an anal. It's like you're handing in a resume to kind of, you know. But that's something that, you know, don't bring academia into your relationships. That's just
Don't try to analyze the other person.
no.
This is of like two souls coming together.
Yeah.
And if you're analyzing them, especially so early, then I think that's a sign that you don't trust people.
Well, that was kind of something that we went through where you were analyzed, actually. You know, there was someone, an individual gave you a label,
Yeah.
a diagnosis outside of, you know, a professional.
Without talking to me.
Without talking to you at all
Yeah.
about it. And it was very disturbing. It was grotesque. And that's really that's not healthy to do.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially if you're someone that's in a position of professional, you know, the professional realm, you should be very careful with that kind of thing, and it's very damaging to. For one, let's say you had an unhealthy mindset, and this person came and put this label on you, you know, without talking to you and having a solid conversation with you about it.
Yeah.
What kind of damage could that do to you?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that's not good. It's not healthy. We all should be very careful about the labels that we put onto someone.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my immediate reaction was, "Oh, I appreciate the person's concern."
Sure.
You know, but
Yeah.
okay, big but here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why didn't they? If this person's a close friend of mine, why
Sure.
didn't that person talk to me about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's unending question. I think a lot of that kind of stuff has more to do with the other person than it does. You know, I think that for one, I think too many people use this diagnoses. You know, a way to label someone as being this or that in order to get a handle of themselves on that person, and two, to make themselves you know, to make themselves feel a little better about issues that they're having. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people labeled as narcissists in this world. Everyone's a fucking narcissist.
Yeah. It's
Everyone.
very popular.
It
If you go
is.
on YouTube,
Oh,
there are
dude.
tons of videos on labeling narcissists and lots of views too. So
Everybody's
who's
a
watching-
narcissist to some degree.
Yeah,
I
who's
mean,
watching
it's-
these videos? Are narcissists watching these videos?
Exactly.
You know, do you think you're a narcissist watching it, or
Oh,
do
yeah.
you Do you think you're the one who needs to be protected by this narcissist, and that's why you're watching it?
Exactly. Well, and I think it's a safe way to label someone else as being the villain. It's kind of what that comes down to.
Yeah.
You know, how can I justify my emotional feelings towards this person? It's by calling them this, or that. And there are people with some serious issues out in the world.
That's because I read a quote recently. It says, "The villain often plays the victim very well."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very true.
And that when I read it, I was like,
Yeah.
"There's a lot behind that. There's a lot of truth."
And the truth is that everybody can be a villain.
Yeah.
You know, we're all a villain at some point in
We
time.
are, yeah.
So
Consciously
yeah.
or unconsciously.
Oh yeah, and pretending we're perfect people, that's the worst. That's the worst thing. And that was something that we started this whole Easy Awakenings with, was to really share that understanding that everyone's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucked up.
That's okay.
You're not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Yeah, and it's that understanding. It's not about being on here preaching to people about how you should and shouldn't live your life.
Yeah.
It's to understand, to bring an understanding and a commonality between each other, to say, look, everyone has the same issues to some degree that you're
Yeah.
having. And there are people out in this world that can understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'll simplify it. I'll go even further and simplify. And you have to embrace both sides of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, that other side that you consider the side that you don't want to be a part of your life, you're going to actually end up just like pushing that down, not completely dealing with it, and it's just going to reemerge in some other form.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, whether it's in a relationship or, you know, or you just sort of, you know, blowing up or something. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. No, that's true.
But it will come out in some other form.
That is true. But well, I guess let's wrap that up. That's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So I guess we covered all of the defense things. So Bing, how
about a defense?
how about a defense? Well, I guess, you know, we talked about being. I think everything we've been talking about is preparing you.
Yeah.
You know, how to prepare your mind for dealing with this. I mean, I'd say one of the best defenses to this kind of thing is to understand that everybody has a different mindset. Number one. Two, you know, no matter what you do, you will encounter people that are just, they're fucked up in the head. You know, and sometimes they don't show their fucked upness until later on in the relationship. You know, sometimes it takes a trigger of and usually it's almost always some form of insecurity that makes this person feel insecure, and so they put up this bullshit defense mechanism or this bullshit shield that has to make them feel whole and right with their decisions and the things that they've done, because they don't want to face up to it. And that's one of the best tells of this is that you're going through. If someone becomes very defensive and they start accusing you of all sorts of stuff without acknowledging or without communicating with you about what's going on, they just they throw on the accusations and they put a shield up and walk away.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very big telling sign that this person has some severe insecurity issues that they're dealing with, and that they are not prepared or not able to deal with at that time. So.
Yeah. And like during this time of emotional turmoil, I would say, and I think we've been saying this in a way, but just keep working on yourself. You know, work through your own emotions. Even if this person or situation is not ready to be resolved right away, don't be in limbo. Don't sit there and wait. Don't give them the power. You know, don't wait for their permission. You know, live life like you're supposed to. You know, like the goal setting, but do things that are going to make you more emotionally stable during this time. Because if you don't, and this other person comes back, it's going to be the sort of the same, more fighting, and it doesn't get actually any better after that. But if you're working on yourself during this process, like that's the best gift actually that you can give to yourself and potentially to that other person. If you guys do decide to somehow, you know, reconcile, get back together, either work back together or you know, have a relationship together.
Because if your energy is focused on sort of, letting them know how you feel, it's going to be very explosive, and it likely won't be a healthy reunion. But if you do put your focus into this other stuff, your energy goes into that.
It does, yeah.
So when you go into, let's say you do communicate with this person again, it'll just kind of blow off. It'll be like dust on your shoulders. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's your thing, You want to continue on, you want to communicate about it, we go from there. If not, have a good life.
Yeah.
Take it easy,
Yeah.
But so yeah, and then one thing that I wanna go back over is it's not a conspiracy and it's not fate. Everything on Earth is fate. Everything is fate. You know what I mean? Like the whole notion. Oftentimes we mention ourselves that, oh, it's fate. Fate did this to me. Well, that would be true of everything if that's the circumstance. If the universe is conspiring to put you in this position, literally everything that you do is that. So if we gotta wonder why. If you're telling yourself that it's fate, just be careful not to use that as some sort of cover up to not deal and face the situation that's going on inside of you, that inner turmoil that you were talking about.
Yeah, it could be a crutch also.
Yeah.
And you got to be honest with yourself. We've been talking about our side of it, but you have to also look at it from their point of view as well.
Yeah.
And they have their own reason for doing that, and ultimately they have to live with themselves.
Oh yeah.
Even if you don't want to live with them any longer,
Sure.
they have to live with themselves too, and kind of deal with their own stuff. And if
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not willing to look at it, you have to look at it.
Exactly.
You have to look at yourself, and you have to be very honest with yourself.
Yeah. One thing that I wrote that I'd like to point out: the world is full of twats. You will meet many of them, no matter what you do, no matter what the universe thinks and wants for you. You will encounter negative people, negative personalities, and people that are out there to, do some damage. Even if it's not intentional, they'll do it because they're trying to get something for them, and they're willing to harm you because, like we said, of those mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
That's kind of going through. So I guess we'll stop there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Those of you that watch this show, we really appreciate it. Check out our blog. Check out our store. We have a store that's up with some awesome items.
Yep.
Really cool T-shirts with some cool sayings and some designs that we came up with. But yeah, no, we appreciate it. What else? There was something else I was going to mention.
The social media.
It wasn't that, but
Not
we go to
that,
our
okay.
social media. Check that stuff out. We've got some good.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook. Am I missing anything?
No, that's it. And
Yeah,
our
and of course
podcast
on
too.
YouTube.
Yeah, we turn these into audio forms too, so they're good to you can take them, download them. Google Podcasts, we're on Google, we're on Apple Podcasts. Just type in Easy Awakenings Podcasts, and you should be able to figure that out. No, Daddy's working. Hold on a second.
Yeah, and you guys are a resource, so please share these. They're really important. If you got something out of it, there's a good chance that somebody else will get something good out of it. So please share these with others. Make sure to comment, like it.
Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. It's easy to forget.
Yeah.
So please, we humbly ask you to subscribe and hit that bell for future notifications.
There was something else I was gonna.
The nonprofit.
No, something else.
And we are a nonprofit, so please consider donating to our cause.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll help us create more films.
It will, yeah.
Yeah. Get some good
Yeah, you
talent
like the
involved.
Ego in Me? A Ego in Me was a great documentary.
Yeah.
And the one we did recently turned out really well. We want to do more of those.
Jeez, man. I forgot what it is. Whatever. If I can remember. No, dude, I'm working, man. Look. No. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Say bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Say bye-bye to the camera. The camera's right there. All right.